Hi everybody and welcome to Adobe Max 2022. My name is Flynn and I am the host of Adobe Live Asia Pacific. I'm very excited to be here in LA with our very first guest of the day, Kristy Campbell from Pink Pony Creative. Hey Kristy.
Hello Flynn, it's so good to be here. I'm very excited to share some insights and do some work on Illustrator and Photoshop today.
Yes.
Can't wait, but I'll give you a little introduction if you don't know
Please
who
do.
I am. I'm Kristy Campbell from New Zealand. I own a design studio called Pink Pony Creative and we basically do everything from branding to print assets, digital assets and a whole lot of good stuff like that. So yeah.
That's perfect. And you're here at Max for the first time?
First time here, so I'm very excited to even be here. It's overwhelming, but with a good feeling. So I'm so excited.
That's fantastic. And by the way, Kristy has some sessions as well, so you can jump in and check those out. But should we get into it? There's been all sorts of announcements. I hope you all enjoyed the main stage broadcast, but we're going to get in a little bit deeper. So let us know if you have any questions in chat as we're going along. Let's jump in.
Awesome. So, well, I'll just briefly talk about what I'm doing today. I am going to be creating a little mini brand identity for a puppy cafe.
Puppy
called
cafe.
Quirky Pups.
Awesome.
I know, I thought why not? We love dogs, so we'll just get into it. So I'm going to start off by using this, some type here, and we're just going to go ahead and outline it. And I'm going to show a new tool that was used, it was showcased this morning called the Intertwine Tool.
Yes.
So to start with, before I get into that, I'm going to, actually let's take my color palette, it's gone, it's up here. I'm just going to add this little guy in here. All right. We've lost him for a second then. Okay. So I'm just going to change his color so we can see him a bit. Cool. All right.
Nice red.
Yeah, beautiful little red there. Okay. So let's just ungroup this. So I'm just going to go ahead and start to draw out a bit of a line. I want this line here from the Y to be curved a bit bigger throughout the P, because what the Intertwine tool does, it actually allows us to overlap different objects so quickly and so easily. So we're gonna make this change. Let's just smooth this guy out. All right. So he's starting to get it rounded off there.
And this should be available for everyone to play with now as well. So if this is your first Max experience, it's time to download all of the updates, queue them all up and have a play around with all the amazing stuff that was announced on the main stage.
Definitely. This was one of the tools out of all the new updates that I was like, wow,
yeah,
this is very cool.
This is very cool.
All right, so I just want to try and make the width of the line here the same as the Y. It's not a W, it's a Y. All right, and I'll go ahead and also use the width tool here because I want to round off that edge and make it like a cute little button edge. Oh, there we go. Now you can see it working there. Easy. All right. Okay. This is where the tool comes really, this is the exciting part of the tool. Let's actually select this whole guy here. I'm just going to outline him. And we're going to... All right. So let's select this bad boy. Go to Objects, Intertwine, Make. And this is where the exciting stuff is. I'm going to circle this. And it will disappear.
Ta-da!
Like so cool. Such an epic tool. And then we're going to also follow it along. I want it to intertwine here too. So just do a little intertwine.
Nice.
So you can see there how it just folds over the P and goes back up. And it is actually quite you can move your vectors around a little bit.
Yeah, this is something that I was surprised to see live demoed as well, and you're just showing it now, is you can actually move it around a little bit. So if it's not perfect, you can still kind of switch it. So it's a little bit smarter than I thought. I thought it was going to be a really quick, clever clipping mask, but it seems to be doing a lot more than that.
Yeah, it definitely is, which is pretty amazing. I think it gets to a point where you've circled, it will cut off. You can start to see where it cuts off there.
Yeah.
But it does an impressive job of finding the edges there. All right. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and grab this guy up here. So this is one that I pre-made.
Perfect.
Purely for Adobe Max. All right. So you can see here.
Pre-outlined and everything.
Yeah, so let's just do the same process. I'll show you guys again the Intertwine Tool because it is so amazing. Just as like a last little showcase of the tool. All right, let's do it again. So we'll do these 2 layers, boom. So it's so smooth, and then we'll get it going through here as well.
Nice.
So we'll circle this bit. Looks pretty good.
Ta-da!
Impressed. It's such an amazing tool, like definitely one of my favorite new features to come out of Adobe.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think some letterers and illustrators are going to be pretty excited about this one as well. Like especially
Definitely.
people that play around with vectors, creating typography and everything like that. I think this is we're going to see some cool stuff from this feature.
It'll be pretty amazing. So basically when I create branding and brand identities and things, I'll go through and I'll make lots of logo variations like these, and then once I'm happy with them, I start to also draw out some quirky illustrations, which I'm sort of known for as my design studio. So I've done some sketches.
Oh, yes.
Pre-did these. I'm not going to sketch them out here today at Max.
Is that a puppuccino?
It's a puppuccino.
Yes.
Well, this guy is anyway. He's in his cup. He's living up large in his coffee there. So we're just going to go ahead and nicely draw this little guy here, just for the purpose of this session. We'll go ahead and quickly do this with him.
Oh, and there was a question from chat as well. What's the name
it.
of the tool? It's Intertwine.
Intertwine.
So if you're looking for it, check it out.
Yeah, it's a new tool. It's under Object, Intertwine there, and then you go and make, and that allows you to make your intertwine.
There you go.
So we're going to go ahead and make this little puppy. So I love working with the pen tool, especially when I'm going over my drawings like this. It just allows me to get them really accurate. So we're just going to quickly draw him, just to give you guys a bit of a visual as to what I do when I create these.
And what did you, is this pencil? Like, is this like real life?
Yeah,
actual
real
pencil?
life pencil.
Right.
Yep. I feel like I'm not the best drawer in the world, but I think you don't have to be when it comes to
awesome.
Illustrator. I do a lot. It's a lot of sketching.
Yeah.
And then I go over it with a pen as well, and then I just refine everything in Illustrator, which makes it. I mean, you know, you can make anything perfect with an Illustrator, really. So we're starting to draw these little paws out there, and then once I've drawn him, I'm going to show you guys some other really cool new tools in Illustrator and Photoshop. There's some pretty epic stuff to be coming out of Adobe Max this year, so it's very exciting.
There is. And by the way, if this is your first time watching Adobe Live, please subscribe to our new Adobe Live channel on YouTube to stay up to date on latest streams during Max and after Max as well. There's always amazing content and amazing guests coming on like Kristy to play with the tools and teach you new stuff, so check it out.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I love to just like basically do a bit of a rough outline of my drawing. I'm not thinking too much about what's happening with him at the moment. We can refine him after I've like removed my sketches from behind him and make sure everything's clean and tidy there. So I feel like he's starting to shape up. All right, we can even add a bit of a collar for him.
He's very cute. He's very distinguished.
He is very distinguished. Oh, just you wait for the final drawing. He's very cute. All right, and then we can turn that off. So I mean, what you can see here is pretty messy at the moment, but this is where I go through and basically refine everything. So I just make sure all my line work is tidy, making sure all the points are working really nicely. So I use the join tool just then to join up those points. Oh, here we go. Now you guys are going to get a good view of my drawing. Okay, cool. So he's looking pretty cool.
His little nose.
Yeah, his cute little nose. He's looking. Oh, we just had a malfunction of the GoPro. We're good. The GoPro really wanted to get in close. Wanted to see all the
Just wanted to get
design
involved.
work, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would go through and basically keep refining this until I'm really happy with everything. Something with design, especially with illustration work, I think the detail is so important, and it can be everything from like the thickness of your lines through to placement, and even down to textures you use, or everything like that. So it's really just about making sure you are happy with them.
There was a question from the Max chat. What is the keyboard shortcut to tell the pen tool to stop at that anchor point?
Oh,
It's always tricky asking what the shortcut is because often it's muscle memory.
100%. That's why I just did it, because I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. It definitely is muscle memory. I think what they mean is once you use the pen tool, just say you're drawing, to stop it, basically all I use is Option, and then I just do a little click there.
Cool.
And then I also click V, which goes back to the direct selection point, or the selection tool, which allows you to get out of the pen tool and jump out of it there.
Great.
And then you just go P to jump back straight into it. So easy to do.
Well done. Hope that helps.
Yeah, hopefully that was helpful. But if you guys have any more questions, feel free to keep asking away. So I'm not going to fully get into drawing this wee guy here, but once I'm sort of happy with my drawing and it's at a point where I can start adding things like color and shading and if I want halftones and things in there, I'll most likely just copy the layer. All right, let's paste the layer here, and then we're just going to expand that, and I can start to fill in everything. I feel like when you do design in front of people, or we've got a camera watching, it's always so different.
Yeah.
So different. And you're like, oh my God, that's not actually something I would do. Okay, let's rewind a bit. Okay. There we go. All right, so for a drawing like this as well, I'll typically change the line widths on a few positions. Maybe it's the exterior lines that I want to feel a little bit bulkier. Let's pop them up to 1, say. Just to like add a little bit more depth into the drawing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bit much. All right. So you can see me going through and adding those here. Once again, refining everything. So in a lot of my illustrations, people definitely see halftones. I love using halftones.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and add a halftone here as well. So to do this, we draw a shadow. So typically, let's just draw a shadow like this. And we've got to make the shadow a grey colour. I know people always ask me how to do halftones, so let me show you here. So we've got a couple of shadows here that we're going to turn into halftones. Select those bad boys.
I love that you say bad boys as well, because I say that all the time. Like,
it's a habit
let's get this
now.
little guy over here, get a couple of these bad boys.
I know, I talk about my design like it's a cute cat or something, you know?
Herd of cats.
Yeah. All right, let's make this into a halftone. So the trick is with halftones, making sure all your channels here are even. I mean, they're a bit big, but we'll keep them as is for now. And then I go ahead, and because they're not vectors right now, they're more like a pixel drawing. You can't edit the colors very easily. I'll go ahead and I will rasterize those and just image trace them. We love the image trace tool for halftones.
So I feel like halftones, you tend to think of Photoshop.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think so. But for me as well with these drawings, I love these halftones because they just create this kind of texture and like bring another element to your work.
Yeah.
And a bit of depth, which is something I love to do. So we make the halftone. Yeah. So you can see there, we can make those halftones any color we like, which is pretty amazing. All right, so, I mean, he's looking pretty good. I'll just give you guys a bit of an insight as to what I do when I color my illustrations as well, before we get on to showing you some other cool new features in Photoshop and Illustrator. So, I'm definitely a fan of working with layers like this and making sure they're named, just so they're all really clear. So you'll go line work, halftone, and then we'll put the color in here. Expand that bad boy.
Get that bad boy.
Yeah. And then we go ahead and I use the shape builder tool to actually build out my shapes.
Love the shape builder tool.
We love it. So you can see here it's starting to be colored and it's starting to shape up pretty nicely. And let's give his collar a different color here, eh?
Do you have a name for this dog?
Oh, we can call him Banjo.
Banjo.
I have no idea where that name came from, but it did.
Maybe Bluey.
Oh, Bluey.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like a Scooby-Doo as well.
Oh yeah, true.
Verging on Scooby-Doo. So this is sort of how I start to build up my illustrations. I mean, the line work here isn't quite right, and I would work on it for many more hours.
Yeah.
But for the sake of the session today, we have a beautiful full artwork.
Oh wow.
So let's zoom into these guys so you can see what I've done.
Zoom in on that bad boy.
Yeah, so where is he? This is the guy that I was working
apron.
on. I put an apron on him, especially because he's a barista. I wanted to make barista dogs.
Very cool.
So you can see those half tones coming in there. I mean, my line work as well is really different. You can see the thicker lines, and then we've also got our thinner lines there, showing that like texture and just variation in the lines really. I quite like this guy here too.
Oh, there's the distinguished. That's why you said, yeah.
There's the distinguished gentleman. We're making his coffee. And I added a little piercing in there.
I like that. A little bit of, bit of attitude.
Edge. Yeah, a little bit of edge.
That's it, edge.
And you can see here as well with my logo, we've got that Intertwine tool that I've used. And I've gone ahead and I've actually just expanded that to make sure everything was really clear, cut out, because I wanted to make sure things could be edited easily as well.
Yeah.
So once we've got all of our artwork here, I'll show you guys a few really cool new tools. So we're going to head over to Photoshop, where we have a mockup, a beautiful mockup. All right, this is really cool because this is not something that I had previously. So let's actually go back to Illustrator. Just say if I wanted to take my 2D design work from Adobe Illustrator into Photoshop in a 3D way, I've prepared this lovely coffee bean design here.
I love it.
And this is all editable text, so all this text here is editable, and I want it to still be editable. Maybe I'm going to change the name, maybe I'm going to change the font, but we're going to go ahead and copy this, and we can literally drop it straight into Photoshop as layers, making sure you click layers, that is the key here. And we'll zoom out, and we're just going to go ahead and resize this. Cool. All right.
Do you remember the font names that you used? There was a question from chat.
Oh, I do. I can look those up for you. All right. Let's check out the font names. So there's some nice fonts, I have to say. We've got Canberra, like in Australia. Canberra. Regular. Maybe I might have butchered the name of that. And then also, don't know how to say that one. Moster Gale. Regular.
There you go.
So there you go. If you can understand from my accent. Okay, so this is the cool part in Photoshop. So we've got our artwork here that we've just copied and pasted over. Now this type is now still editable, which was not something that they had before.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool feature. So that's something very exciting, as well as the editable here. Everything is still editable, so we can go in. Obviously now these vectors are pixels, so you can't adjust them as easy, but I think this will be like a game changer for mockups and just using Photoshop as well. So it's a really cool feature. All right, so let's pop that into my mockup. Voila! Amazing.
Awesome.
So it's looking pretty tidy. All right, let's head over back to Illustrator for a second. Okay, so we've got all of our artwork. You can see here there's a few bits and pieces that I've created for the little cafe. We've got a menu, We've got the coffee beans. We've got a little concession card for your puppies and your coffees. All right.
Do have another question from
Go
chat.
for it.
Trying to catch these when they come through. Hi Kristy, someone said. Where do you get your mockups?
Where do I get my mock-ups? Well, Adobe Stock does have some awesome mock-ups, which is amazing, and I also use yellow images, so it's pretty cool. So,
Cool.
Yeah,
Very good. Oh, there was one more. I'm going to jump in one more because I missed a few.
go for it.
How long did it take you to create this whole thing from scratch?
Ooh,
Ballpark.
So a ballpark, maybe about 5 hours to create this.
Cool.
It's just all about the illustrations, and then kind of once you've got the base, you can roll everything out pretty quickly. And I mean, because I was making my own brief, I can sort of do it how I want, which is
Yeah, you can change it as
amazing.
you're going along a little bit. Like, actually, that works, so let's just roll with it.
Exactly, yeah. So, all right. So now we've got this poster that I've created. But before we got to this poster, I want to show you some cool new selecting and masking objects, because these will change the game for you as well. So we've got this dog photo here that I got from Adobe Stock, amazing. All right, let's go into here. So, oh, he's
It's a very
cutie.
cute dog.
I mean,
Border collie,
you're like,
so
how
favourite
could
dog
I?
here.
How could I not use dogs? Okay, so typically in the previous versions of Photoshop, you've got lots of different ways you can select and mask an object, but for this session, this is a pretty cool tool. So let's go ahead and select and mask them. All right, have you seen this tool? This is quite cool.
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, so this is a new feature. So if you're gonna, just before you hit select subject, don't hit it just yet. We're gonna change the device to cloud. And I think basically this like uses the internet or something like that to modify and select the subject with a lot more detail. And I'll
Right.
show you the difference with this because it's
Okay.
pretty amazing.
I'm
So
ready. This is
select
great.
the subject here. We'll wait for him, the nice little color wheel. He's coming. All right. So I'm just going to go, okay, I'm not going to do anything else with it. It doesn't look as good as previous, to be honest. Oh, you know why? It's because I'm not connected,
Not
to, the
connected to the internet, yep.
Well, guys, we'll have to look at this one later. Look at this one in your own time. So typically, when you're connected to the internet, this would actually refine the edges like a lot. So the difference here would be huge between your, I'll just go through. So bearing in mind that I'm not connected to the internet, click the cloud detailed results, and then when you click select subject, the edges there will be so much more refined.
Yes.
And you'll be able to see the difference if you try it just the usual way as well. So give that one a go at home.
So just a little bit of homework, I think.
Yeah, a little bit of homework for everyone here, because I didn't log into the internet. But that's right, we don't need the internet for the next one, I don't think. Okay, so let's just cancel that one. All right, let's go up to this woman. Okay, so we've got a woman and a dog here. All right. Now I've lost this tool. Oh no, guys, this is where it all goes downhill. Okay.
Last few minutes, everything
Yeah.
collapsed.
It definitely does, seems
We'll
to
be
here,
fine.
but they will be fine. Okay. Well, I don't have the shortcut here for it, so that's all right. We can find another tool to showcase. Round 2. All right, so let's go into Illustrator. So I was going to show you guys another way of selecting a object, but we're going to miss that one today. So instead, I'm going to showcase how we can now add objects like vectors onto mockups, say, and you can actually change the perspective in Photoshop, which is pretty amazing because they didn't have this detail before.
Yeah.
So we're going to take this logo here and pop it into Photoshop. It is in the libraries here. We're just going to add this guy. Oh no, he's gone. Let's do it this way.
Because no internet, probably no libraries as well.
Probably no libraries too.
Do you typically use Adobe libraries in your process?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Yeah. They're pretty amazing. So it's always good to have the libraries there. So okay, here we go. Round 2. Let's actually just rasterize this layer. We need to merge them. Cool. Okay. So this is a pretty cool new tool as well because it's just an improvement on previous tools. So we're going to select this full tool here. All right, now if we go up to image, edit, transform, warp, and then we're taking this warp and we're going down to cylinder. So this was previously something that Photoshop had, but the next tool is a new feature. So we're going to just adjust this until we're happy. Going to make sure he's sort of sitting nicely there. All right, cool. Okay, so I'm pretty happy. But this next part, this is where the cool little addition comes in. This little square here, which I cannot click. I don't think we're not doing as well here today. That's fine. Unless they don't have this in the released one. Okay.
So this will be changing the perspective a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well it should be, but that's all right. We'll get there. Let's try again, eh? You know what? Doesn't seem to be working for us. Hey, that's all right. Do we have any other questions in the chat?
We do. Okay, so question from the Max chat. So get your questions in while we're live, while we can. How do you find your inspiration to make your sketches or brands?
Oh, I typically use Behance a lot, and I just look like elsewhere, and I try to be inspired by everyone out there. So even things like Instagram and all those other platforms can be really, really helpful. I also try not get too, overflowed with what I see on other platforms and other designers, what they're doing, because I want my work to be sort of truly unique to me and be really authentic to me. So that's why I try and make sure all my work is original, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's try this tool one more time, eh? All right. So, I mean, regardless, I'm giving you a good demonstration of the cylinder warp tool. So, there we go.
There we go.
It's working.
Okay.
Yeah, we're there. So you can see here how it's expanding. So it's actually changing the perspective of your vector. So let's just refine this a little bit more. And if you want something to actually look like it's going around a glass or around an object, you can use this feature. So this could be really amazing for like adding things on mockups and doing all that good stuff.
So I know that there's been a couple of new features that we've been mentioning. Can you just let us know exactly where to find this one and what it's called, just so everyone following at home, they know what to look for?
No, for sure. So let's just go back a little bit. All right, so we've got our vector here. So if we want to wrap this around an object, you can go up to edit, transform, and then warp. And we're going to change the perspective to cylinder here. And then we can resize again, just recapping on what we've done here. Resize, changing the perspective a bit here. And then this little guy here, oh, he's not going to work again, is he? Let's try one more time. All right. We're going to get him to work one more time. All right. I'm actually not sure why it keeps doing that, but that's okay. The tool is there, but to move the perspective on the vector here, you simply pull that. That's all right. That can be another bit of homework for you all.
You saw it. We did it
perfectly.
You
did see it. We did it perfectly. Okay, cool. So that's like another really awesome tool that we help you with mock-ups and doing all that sort of work. So that's a really fun tool. Let's go back to Adobe Illustrator. All right. So let's go through a couple of other cool new features that aren't necessarily to do with the visual identity that I'm showing here today, but we're going to go ahead and go back to our working document, and we're going to pop on these layers. Here we go. All right, so let's look at this pre-prepared guy here. Opening up the
like that, were you just throwing another artboard in there?
Sure was.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you know what a really cool trick is? That apparently a lot of designers didn't know this, that if you have, just say, your vector, And if you've got lots of little vectors around your artboards and you want to quickly draw artboards around your objects, if you just click your artboard tool here and then click, bam.
What?
It's great. It's a great little tool. So that's
I didn't
a little
know that
tip.
one. That's very cool.
Yeah. Can be awesome if you've got quite a few different assets that you want to quickly export for clients or whatever you need them for. So that's a really cool little tool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that, chat? I did not know that was a thing.
I'd love to know.
I need to know.
All right, cool. So let's just go through a couple of extra tools that are new to Illustrator. So I think these next tools would be great for beginners hopping on Illustrator as well. They'd be really awesome to play around with because they're so easy to use. So we've got our text here, and maybe I want to add a cool new effect to it in literally seconds. So you know on Photoshop how they introduced the quick actions tools? We've got those in Adobe Illustrator now.
Nice.
So we're going to go quick actions. So we can take this text and make a retro text in seconds, which is pretty cool. So perfect for beginners, like I said, wanting to maybe change up their artwork, make it a little bit different. So that's a pretty cool feature. And then as well, if we go back, okay, let's just go back here.
It's like futuristic coffee shop.
Yeah, we're changing the aesthetic from like a cool vintage kind of aesthetic to retro. We can do the same thing with the neon glow text as well. So if we apply that,
Oh, nice.
voila, amazing. Which is a really cool feature. So you can change and see those effects being used there. And I wouldn't be surprised if we've got other cool things coming for the quick actions tool as well. And the one more, the old school, some old school text here.
Nice drop shadow happening. Can't go wrong with a decent drop shadow.
You can't go wrong. All right, cool. So those are some of the really cool little quick actions. There is one more that I want to show everybody. So let's go back to this poster artwork. So just say we've finished our artwork, but we want to play around with the colors here. There's something we can do called the Recolor. And this is pretty cool, and it can happen in an instance as well. So let's select this. And we're going to just click Recolor. Voila.
Hey.
And it recolors. So we've got a whole bunch of different colors here, heaps of unique colors, that's for sure. I mean, I personally probably wouldn't brand a coffee shop with this neon green effect, but that's fine, you know. Maybe
It does make it look a little bit more like diuretic dog food or something.
You know what this is? This is special for Halloween.
Right.
We're specifically doing this for Halloween.
Because the colour scheme's scary.
Because it's a very Halloween-esque colour scheme. All right, and if we wanted to actually go ahead and change those colours in Illustrator, we can go down to Edit Colours here, and then Recolor Artwork. And this is where you can go in and basically choose your colours that you've got here as well. So let's just shift this over. Let's maybe change him to cool.
Hey.
I mean, a little bit better, a bit dull, but you know, but you get the point. A really cool feature to play around with your colors. And as well, if we wanted to edit one color, we can click the unlink here and go ahead and edit those colors and change them to whatever we want, which is pretty amazing. So that's a really cool feature.
Cody in chat said it looks like Nickelodeon with those colors.
It does. I think they would have been thinking about
previous
these ones.
yeah.
You know what? I like it. The Halloween Quirky Pups Cafe is very on brand of Halloween. So that's a really cool feature as well. So let's just go through some of the features that I've sort of spoken about today.
Yeah, and I will mention as well, so we're getting closer. We've got about 8 minutes left. There was a request or two to see the Intertwine feature one more time, so I don't know if you have time for that, but I just want to throw it out.
Of course.
If we have time, we will check it out.
For sure. Let's go through it.
It is the new shiny.
It is. So let's take this guy again. All right. Yeah, so we can spend the last like sort of 7 minutes doing this as well. So we've got your vector. You want to loop something in quite quickly and easily. Just making sure, I'm going to go ahead and expand it just so it's nice and clean. And then we're going to pathfind that so it's all one vector. And then let's go ahead and zoom in on this one to give us a really good look. You've got to make sure you select the 2 objects. So you've got your 2 objects there, one on top, one on the bottom. Then we're going edit, object, intertwine, and then make. And then we're going to go ahead and just circle. So you'll be able to quickly see it pop, disappear.
Easy.
Honestly, I love it. It's awesome. Do the same here. So if we actually go back, I'm going to draw my Intertwine tool. I'm going to draw the area a bit larger. So see how I've drawn that quite a bit larger? Now when I go in and I try and shift my object here, you can see it is dropped down, and it works quite nicely there. So the bigger you draw your circle around your intertwine, the more editable it's going to be. So I think that's key to remember as well. And let's do it again here too. Intertwine. Oh, it already is. So it's already intertwined.
Intertwined.
And we're going to edit it again. So go object, intertwine. Oh. Let's just try again, eh? Here we go. Edit.
Hey.
All right, we're here. Couple of reworks and we've got it. And again, intertwine that. So it's pretty amazing.
I love that some of these tools, like some of the best tools, take about 2 seconds to demo, because that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Like they're supposed to save you time. And it's like, hey, check out this, and it's like 30 seconds.
Done.
Not even 10 seconds, and we're done. But it's a great tool. So super interested to see what people do with this as well.
Yeah.
Like I love it when
amazing.
there's a bit of tech and a bit of software comes out, and then we're playing around with it. But someone out there, one of you out there, is going to do something crazy. We're like, oh, I didn't even think about that application for this tool. So
oh, for sure.
Wait.
It'll be pretty awesome. I mean, you can do it in the most like simple ways as well. You know, if we had a line and then another line that we were pushing through it, making that a different color. So you could really get so creative with how you use this tool. But as another little example, doing small things like that can easily intertwine the tool again. So you can really see how it's being used in its most simple form for you there. There you go. It's like a little snake around a vine. Amazing. Is there any more questions? I'd love to hear if anyone else has any more questions.
Any more questions, throw them in. So I had a question, because we come to something like Max and there's all these new features. So how do you go about like adding new features to your workflow? Like if something pops up, do you play around with it a little bit, see what everyone else is doing? What's your
Definitely.
take?
Play around with it, like doing things as simple as a line like this can literally just teach you how to use the tool, get comfortable with it, and keep doing small skills, like small little, pieces of art like this, because that will actually really help you just get used to the tool, and then you can start to use it in a more advanced way, like applying it to logos or illustrations, and that can really help. But it can be complex, but just practice and you'll get there. And these tools can be like so incredibly helpful with your workflow and just speed everything up, which is amazing.
Absolutely. There was another question from the Max chat. Can you expand and it says you can expand and convert all of that into a flat shape.
This is where it can get a little bit complex. So if we were to expand this, you can see here, I'm going to zoom right up, the line work, the way the Illustrator adjusts it, I guess it almost applies layers. So this is where you can see another vector here. So if we were to ungroup this, you can see things changing a little bit. But this is where it just becomes not as, a live working document. So you want to keep it not expanded for as long as possible before you move into this. And then once you've got this, you can really start to build up your shapes through the Shape Builder tool and make sure everything's really clean and ready to export for your clients.
Yeah, I mean, it basically makes a really quick clipping mask for you and does all of the work of moving things forward and backward and separating and all that sort of stuff just very, very quickly. So if you're familiar with clipping masks, then it will behave in a similar sort of way, I would imagine. It's new to me too.
Yeah, 100%. So once again, just keep playing with it and testing things out. Remember, you can't really make mistakes on just work that you're testing out. let's just give this a bit of an expand. You sort of go ahead and you just start to make sure that's all expanded and looking really nice there. So yeah, I mean, pretty awesome tool.
Yeah. I have one more question. We've got about 3 minutes left. Just on creating these patterns that you create, I've seen this in some of your other branding work as well, like where you've created a logo, maybe a mascot or a logo mark there, a couple of different iterations, but then you very quickly expand your project out. So this looks like wrapping paper or wallpaper or something to put together in a client presentation. So maybe you can give us a 2-minute kind of quick little look at that.
Of course. So basically, if I've got these illustrations that I've drawn, I love to add this into my branding work. Like it's part of just something that I do as a competitive advantage, I guess, and brands come to me for this quirky style now. So we'll have our illustrations. Let's actually just make a new artboard so everything's really clean. And then I'll go ahead and go object, pattern, make. And you can start to build out your pattern this way as well. You can like play around with the grid, making it sort of using the offset by halves. We can make it go columns. So there's so many options for the pattern here, but I love using these. Once I'm happy with the pattern as well, you just click done. And it's now added as a swatch, which is pretty amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah. You can see here some really fun patterns that I've created for this Quirky Pups brand. And you could use these on sort of things like tissue paper, maybe it's on the coffee cups. Let's go back into Photoshop.
It's also social, right? Like giving your clients lots of things in their tool belt so that they're not just posting like a logo on a white background. It's like this can be applied to so many different things. Oh, I love the coffee cup.
100%, yeah, the cute coffee cup. Maybe I wanted like a full dog pattern on there. We could use that on there as well, which is pretty cool. So, it's a great way to like add a whole lot extra character to your brands and just like fun. I think, like I'm all about fun brands and adding some extra flair into the brands, which I love. So
love it.
I'm all for that.
Awesome.
Yep, awesome.
Had to do it. Sorry.
That's great. Great.
That's just about our time. So, where can people find out more about you? What's the best place to send people?
People can come to me on Instagram at kristy.thepinkpony. So that's kind of my personal design page, and then we've also got my agency page, which is Pink Pony Creative, and that's across Instagram, TikTok, and on a website. So yeah, if you've got any questions about any of these tools, feel free to message me. I'd love to chat with you guys about these and just teach everyone about these amazing tools.
It's awesome. Have a play around with everything. So Intertwine, Halftone, we covered the Shape Builder tool as well, lots of other stuff in there. And of course we got to meet the lovely Banjo. Thanks for following along today. If you didn't catch the whole thing, check out the replay on Behance or on YouTube and stick around for some more Adobe Live.
I don't know if it's off yet or not.
I think we're off.
Amazing.
Okay, good job.
Oh, thank you.
I realized you didn't have Wi-Fi.
I know, and I